Halloween Horror Nights is quickly approaching, and a lot of you guys are in that preparation phase. And let me tell you, the decisions that you make on your visit to HHN can drastically change the outcome that you have. So today, Nicole and I are here to give you 13 spooky tips and tricks to make sure that you guys have a fantastic time at your next Halloween Horror Nights visit. So the first thing we want to talk about, and I know this seems silly, but it's actually buying the correct ticket for you. And I'm not just talking about a single night ticket. A big thing is the frequent fear passes. I see a lot of people tend to buy like the top tier because they're like, I'm gonna go all season. But you have to start to think about how often are you actually going to visit. If there's only a chance that you visit maybe 1 or 2 Saturdays throughout the event, maybe don't buy the top tier frequent fear. Also, Scream Early tickets oftentimes are bought when you don't need them. It is actually just part of a day ticket, which we'll talk a little bit about. Figuring out the correct ticket for what you're trying to do is a huge step into making sure, number one, that you don't spend a ton of money, and number two, that you just pick the right ticket for you and your scenario. Now let's talk about that Scream Early add-on that a lot of people have so many questions about. It's funny because I think it's the cheapest thing that you can add on, but it has the most confusion built around it. So if you have a daytime ticket to Universal Studios Florida, as long as you can come to this park, not just Islands of Adventure, but you have to be able to come to this park here, you have access to Scream Early. It's already part of your ticket. As well, if you're a pass holder and have access to the park, you have access to Scream Early. The only time ever that you need to buy the Scream Early ticket add-on would be if you have a ticket to Halloween Horror Nights and you have no other way of visiting the park. That is the only time that you need to purchase the Scream Early ticket if you want it. And what it does is it gets you into the park early at like 3 p.m. You can kind of ride some rides, exist inside the park, and you can actually get in line for the house that you want to this year way earlier than years past.
I think the second piece of advice that we can offer to you guys is to get to the park early. One thing Dylan and I tend to forget almost every year is how crowded it gets. So if you want to be in the park by 7, if you're not here by 6, then you're technically late. Universal Boulevard gets so backed up, it can take forever to get into the parking garage. And then once you're into the parking garage, you have security, and you have City Walk, and you have the line to get into the park alone. So if you're not utilizing the Stay and Scream, plan to be here maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours ahead of time, because you will be surprised how much time is taken up just trying to get into this park.
Do you want to tell them about the time that we went to go see Venom?
So last Halloween season, we had tickets for Venom on like a Wednesday night. And we live so close to Universal, we didn't leave super duper early. And we ended up having to pay $50 for hotel parking because we were not able to get into the parking garage within enough time to get to the movies to not miss the entire show. So when I say like get here early, I'm speaking from experience. You have to get here early.
Yeah, she's not lying. We spent probably a total of almost $80 to go watch Venom. Movie wasn't even that great either, to be honest, but we couldn't get into parking, and we ended up parking at one of the hotels and then walking the length over there. So not only did we have to walk like a mile to get there, but we also had to pay a bunch of money for the parking at one of the resorts. Like Nicole said, it is just worth getting here as early as possible. If you think that you should be here at a certain time, add an additional hour and get here that much earlier. I promise it's going to save your night. Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm just trying to get some shade. Yeah, dress for the season here at Halloween Horror Nights. It is so incredibly hot this year. This is the hottest summer that we have experienced over the past like 3 to 4 years here. It is so hot. Also, it has been raining every single day. And we're talking thunderstorms, rain, hard downpours for hours on end. People will tell you this every single year. Make sure to dress for the weather. I'm telling you, this year might be the most important to do so because we're experiencing it every single day. It's crazy. There's lightning and thunder when you have blue skies, and out of nowhere, it starts to downpour. I'm wearing a fan right now to try and stay cool. Bring your ponchos, bring your umbrellas. This year is the most important, like I said. Out of all of the years that we have been, I will be bringing an umbrella, poncho, neck fans, you name it. I'm bringing it all every single night because it is miserably hot this year. And HHN is in like 2 to 3 weeks at this point. It's not gonna slow down, I promise. And like I said, the rain, right on time, here it comes.
The next tip is to use your Express Pass properly. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Express, but it gives you 1 Express run per house per night. So if you get here and the line is only like 20 minutes, it might not be in your best interest to use your Express for that house already because it's going to get up to an hour plus later in the night. So wait in line for the 10 minutes and then redo the house once the event is busier with the Express. It always like confuses me when I see people in the Express line when there's no wait at all. Don't waste that Express. You're paying a lot of money for it. Make sure you're putting it to good use and using it wisely.
Now, piggybacking off of that tip that Nicole just gave would be to not judge the houses after just one run. Now, for those of you guys that are only coming for one night and you only do each house one time, unfortunately, you're probably going to judge it after just one run. But for those of you that maybe have Express and can do a few extra houses before you really need to utilize Express, or at the end of the night, maybe that last hour or two, you could get a few more runs in. Or again, if you're coming for multiple nights, don't judge the house after just one run. There have been houses that the first run, I was like, I am not a fan of it. It would have been in my bottom 3. And by the end of the season, it was a top 3 house. It's that drastic of a change. So make sure for those of you that are going through the houses multiple times, don't just skip a house because your first run wasn't that good, because that house could end up being one of your favorites of the entire event.
So another tip to keep in mind is even though you're at the theme park, you don't want to spend too much time waiting around in lines for rides. Especially with Rip Ride Rocket being gone this year, other lines are probably going to be longer, and you're at the event to experience the houses, the scare zones, the water show, the dance show. If you spend hours in a line for a ride, you're not getting enough of the Halloween Horror Night aspects itself.
And just to kind of put another asterisk on that, don't waste your time shopping either if you can do it before the event. So the tribute store, anything inside of the park, outside in City Walk, all of the stores are open before the event even starts. So you're better off to buy all of that merchandise ahead of time or on your way out after the event is pretty much closed, because the stores do tend to stay open as you are exiting the park. So don't utilize all of that precious HHN time on exploring merchandise and riding rides if your biggest thing is to do all the houses, the shows, and all of the experiences. And again, we're not telling you not to visit the tribute store. It is an amazingly well-themed area of the park, and the way that they kind of like utilize that space, give you a bunch of HHN merch in there and just like bring things to life is incredible. But again, if you can do it before the event starts or at the end of the night after you've done everything, that's kind of the most optimal, in our opinion, way to do it. Just because, again, you could get lost in there, and that's going to take time away from doing the houses. The next step pertains to the phone, and that's to make sure that you guys are utilizing the app. Now, a lot of times people don't realize that you can use pretty much every feature inside of the app at Halloween Horror Nights, just like you can use it during the day. Now, what exactly do I mean by utilizing the app? You can set reminders for the houses. You could check the wait times inside of the app. Utilizing the app is one of the best ways to make sure that you're going in the right direction for the night, because sometimes people just forget that you could see all of that inside of the app. The one thing you can't do in the app is mobile order food and drinks from the food booths, which you're just gonna have to wait in line for. But everything else is pretty much utilized inside of the app. So don't forget about it, because you could just set that notification to say, hey, once this house drops to this time, I wanna head over there and get to that house as soon as possible. Just keep in mind, a lot of people might have the same notification, so if they see, hey, this house is now at 40 minutes, you might get a huge rush of people going over there. Just keep those kind of things in mind. But if you start to see it trending downward, maybe head that way before it actually dips to its lowest point. Well, Nicole and I need to grab some food, so we came over here to Richter Burger. Also, they do have a new milkshake and a new burger here, but what's our next tip, Nicole?
Don't forget that there's a culinary team that comes in to design these menus and these food items to match the houses that you're going through. So it really is cool to go run through a house and then come out and try a food item that has to do with the house and the scares you just experienced.
Universal releases some super unique items for HHN, and some of the best food I feel like we've had at the park has come from Halloween Horror Nights. We had a fish and chips last year that was insanely good. There was a peanut butter burger that I think was for Chucky just a few years ago, but that was super good. They have just had some really good food items at HHN in general, and I highly recommend it. Some of them a little bit more interesting than others. Insert the carnival dog right here, because that is one thing I don't think I will ever have again. It was like bubblegum mustard on a hot dog with like confetti, and like that was a no. But most things are pretty good. Another small thing that goes along with getting your food and drink items, everything except for alcohol here at Universal Studios at Halloween Horror Nights, you can use your AP discounts on. So if somebody in your group has AP discount, make sure you guys are utilizing that discount, because it saves you a lot of money throughout the night, especially if you're with a big group. Make sure you guys are using it. I have friends that are AP holders and they don't use their AP discount. They're just like, oh yeah, no, I didn't think about it. And it's like, that is like dollars every single time, and that adds up. Merchandise, use your AP discount. Food, drinks, AP discount. Use it. I promise you, it will save you a good amount of money. You guys need to make sure to watch the shows if you can. Specifically, this one here out on the lagoon. The big reason I say this one over Nightmare Fuel is because Nightmare Fuel, you have to definitely get there pretty early if you want to get a seat, and they do fill up almost every single time. Where the Lagoon show, you just get to experience it no matter where you are. You could be over where we're at now, you could be on that side, you could be way over there. Doesn't really matter. You can see the show from all over the lagoon. So it's kind of a nice idea to just like take some time away and check this out. Honestly, it is one of my favorite shows that I've seen over the past few years. And the nice thing is, this year specifically, it's coming back after a few year hiatus, because I think they were upgrading some of those jets after a hurricane unfortunately damaged them just a few years back. Now, on top of actually watching the shows, admire what Universal has done inside of these scare zones, inside of the houses. All of the little detail that they put into making sure this event comes to life is what makes it so special. It's what makes it so different than every other horror event out there. That is what makes this event so incredibly unique. Looking at all of these details, when you are hanging out, take a look, take a gander, read a few things, and really get engrossed in the story of each of the zones and everything that you're doing. It really comes to life, and it is worth every second of it. Another tip that I want to give you guys, which is a little bit of a secret to some people, would be the fact that you could do a ton of houses in the last 2 hours of the event. So, as you guys know, HHN is open until 2 a.m., but a lot of people get out of here by like 11 o'clock or midnight. And again, a lot of people come with families, so they don't want to be out super late, and sometimes they're up the very next morning to go to the park. So if you're able to stay out until 2 a.m., sometimes that last 2 hour window, you could get almost all 10 houses done. I've seen people get like 7 or 8 houses done in like an hour and a half after midnight. So it's definitely worth it. Again, a little bit more secretive to some people, but again, if you guys can stay up late and you guys are night owls, I would highly recommend staying until 2 a.m. You guys will definitely get a ton of houses done.
Another tip you might want to keep in mind is to really prioritize the houses you want to get done, to get those done first. There could be a night where it's just really crowded and lines are packed and you're not gonna make it through every single house. So make sure you have your top maybe 3 or 4 houses that you have to get done. But on the opposite side of that, if there is time, don't just skip a house because you're not interested in it. There have been plenty of years going into HHN that I have no interest in a house based off the title and the background information that I end up loving. And if I only came on one night and chose to skip it because I wasn't interested, I would have no idea. So make sure you have the list of houses you really want to hit, and as long as you have time, hit every single house. They're all worth it.
Yeah, prime example for that is the fact that I don't really have much interest in Terrifier this year. I know that might be a shock to a lot of people, but I'm just not that interested in it. But I am really looking forward to the house, and I'm not gonna skip that house just because I'm not interested in the IP. So make sure that if you guys have the chance, do all 10 houses.
want to keep in mind how much time you spend just walking around and through the park. We've only been here for like an hour or so, and we're already almost at 2 miles. And that's not accounting for going into all of the queues and how far out they are. So make sure when you plan your night, you are remembering time is going to be wasted walking through the park, walking to the houses, walking through the houses. So make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes as well.
Yeah, that's another reason why we always tell you, make sure to wear comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking a ton at Halloween Horror Nights. It's not just walking around the park. The queues themselves, you have to walk way into the back. The queues are super long. You will add so many more miles to your day that you do not realize because you're just thinking, well, I'm gonna go get in line, I'm gonna go through the house and that's it. And it's like, well, no, you actually have to get to the next house. And that is where a majority of the walking comes into play. So you need to account for that when you guys are navigating around and setting up the plan. And speaking of plan, let's talk about that next tip. And that is to come into the event with some sort of plan or agenda, but don't get hung up on it because there is a very good chance that it is not going to go according to plan 100%. So often I see people that are trying to have the perfect agenda when it comes to the park. And you can kind of do that for most days at a theme park. But when it comes to Halloween Horror Nights, things go out the window very fast and you don't realize it. So just have a game plan, start to kind of formulate things. But like I said, don't get hung up on it because if things aren't going according to plan, you're still gonna have a great time. You just have to be a little innovative. Think on the fly. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the tips and tricks from today's video. Now, this is not an exhaustive list by any means. If you guys have any questions or comments about the event, make sure to leave a comment below and we'll go ahead and try and answer them for you guys, or somebody else in the community definitely can. HHN is a lot of fun, but it is a little stressful because there's so much to do, so many things to see, and a lot to prepare for. But hopefully today's video was able to kind of put you at ease just a little bit more. I am excited that we had Nicole here with us here today. It's been a while since
It has been a while. It's been a busy summer season, and it's been a hot summer season. So kudos to Dylan for making it out what seems like every day in the 100-degree weather. But I'm excited to be back around more, especially with the HHN season starting soon.
Yes, and that it is. We are just a few weeks away. Now make sure if you guys haven't yet to subscribe to the channel, turn that little bell notification on so you guys are informed anytime we release new content here. So we are just about 2.5 weeks away from opening night and premium scream, which we'll be there for you guys. We have a lot more content for HHN coming this season. I hope you guys are ready for it. Either way, thank you guys again for hanging out with us here in the now rainy weather here at Universal Studios. And guys, thank you so much for being here.